Hello all, this is Halloween, and if you love haunted history and cemetery tours as much as I do, you may want to subscribe because I'm going to be taking you somewhere new every week. Today we are in Pensacola and it is a cold one. We're headed over to the historic St. Michael's Cemetery, and of course we'll be getting a bite to eat. Enjoy! We made it to St. Michael's Cemetery in Pensacola, Florida, established in 1807. Let's go in and see what we can see. This is a very historic cemetery with a lot to see. It is the second oldest in the state of Florida, the first oldest being the Tolomato Cemetery in Saint Augustine. This cemetery was established in 1807. Very, very old, and a lot of really neat old headstones and history here. You can just see how unique they all are. Look how cool these are. Above ground burials. Of course, we're getting closer to New Orleans. I think New Orleans is like 3 hours away from here. And there's a lot of this style there in their older cemeteries. Look at this. So cool. I'm going to be taking a lot of pictures in here. We're going to read about some of the history. The most famous person buried in here I haven't found yet, but when I find her, she's actually the wife of one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Her name is Walton. Her last name is Walton, so I'm going to be looking for her. There's a lot of Fifers here, I've noticed. So Pfeiffer is a big name in this area. It's beautiful. It is a cold day, but it's a gorgeous day. It's about 36 degrees here today. I've never seen this before. So there's steps down into like a niche where there's burials down there. But it's steps and it's all fenced off and everything. That's kind of cool. These headstones here are probably the headstones for those departed that are laid to rest down there. Here again, we have that style. It's kind of above ground, but it's underground. It's both, basically. It's just more open, you know, rather than being underground burial. It's more of an open niche that you step down into. That's wild. That's really cool, and I've never seen that before. Beautiful headstones here. The Simpson family. This Josephine B. Walton could be a Walton family member of George Walton, the Georgia governor who signed the Declaration of Independence. Now, what's interesting is I was just looking at the information. He was married to a Dorothy Camber, and they had 2 children together. And the children took her surname, Camber, not Walton. So I don't know if that's something that they did back in the 1700s, but it was kind of interesting because, as you know, the children will take the husband's name. But in the case of the Walton family, George Walton and Dorothy Camber's kids took her surname, Camber. So she's buried here somewhere, but this could be one of their family members, passed in 1907. So that could be further down the line, another Walton family member. I'm not really sure. I didn't mention a Josephine. This one over here was very interesting. A nice plot here. It says Don Manuel Gonzalez, a native of Spain, Don Manuel Gonzalez joined the army at Madrid and was sent to New Orleans. After his discharge, he was granted passage through the Choctaw and Creek nations to Pensacola. At Pensacola, he was a successful cattle rancher. He opened a market on Plaza Ferdinand in 1816. With the transfer of Florida to the United States, he was appointed Justice of the Peace and Quartermaster General for the Florida militia. So this is his final resting place here. Looks like he's all by his lonesome. I don't know. I gotta get to the front. Look how cool these are. I love how they're all fenced in with these beautiful wrought iron fences. So cool. This is a Stokes family. Here's Don Manuel Gonzalez. Yeah, he's, let's see. Now, I'm not really sure. It says, it's interesting, the cross says "Our Dead" on it. Our Dead. Don Manuel Gonzalez, 1767 to 1838. Born in Santander, Spain. And then Marie Louise Bonifay Gonzalez, his wife, born 1781. So it doesn't really say if they're laid to rest here or not, so I'm not really sure. They could all be laid to rest here, and they have a daughter here too. Eulalia, 1799 to 1868. So that could be a cenotaph. I'm not really sure for the other departed, but if not, this is a whole family plot. Husband, mother, and daughter. Here's another monument style headstone. These are called obelisk, that style. And there's a bunch of them in this cemetery. All pretty old too. It's amazing to me that they stay in such good shape, but they're solid, you know. Marble, most of them. But yeah, that is an Annie Corner. Died July 2nd, 1899, aged 52 years. She is at rest in heaven, it says. This is a corner family plot here. You know, I gotta hunt for old headstones most of the time, but you won't have that problem in this cemetery. Here's another significant burial here. It's got its own historic marker. So this is Stephen R. Mallory, born on the island of Trinidad in 1812. Stephen Mallory's family eventually made Key West their home. Mallory studied law, volunteered in the Florida militia during the Second Seminole War, and became Inspector of Customs at Key West. In 1830, he met Angela Moreno of Pensacola, who would become his wife. He served his country as a United States Senator and Secretary of the Confederate Navy. After the Civil War, Mallory became one of Pensacola's most prominent attorneys. So that's the Mallory plot there. if you look online, there's a map of the cemetery, and there's this part of the cemetery that sort of looks like a spoon. We have arrived. So it's a little circular plot right in the middle here, and it's just beautiful. It's like it's a mound, a burial mound, basically. So it looks like. Very cool. This cemetery, if you look online, it actually got really rave reviews. People that come here are not disappointed. They love it. I love it. I think it's so awesome. There's just so much to see, and it's quite big. I think I read that it's 5 acres, I think. And that's pretty big for an old cemetery. It doesn't look like they're still entering into this cemetery. I have not seen any new headstones. They're all from, 100 years old and more. This one looks kind of new. Let's see. Not that new. 1921 here. So that's as new as you're gonna get around here. I don't think they're burying anyone here anymore. This is the final resting place of Daniel Sullivan. His monument stands, gosh, how tall would you say that is, babe? 30 feet tall? 30 feet tall, something like that. It's huge. It says here on its historic marker, Daniel F. Sullivan and his brother Martin, born in Ireland, arrived in Pensacola after the Civil War, possessing a remarkable talent for business. The brothers purchased lumber mills and wharfs on Pensacola Bay and vast areas of timberland in Escambia County. The success of their lumber business in the late 19th century is exemplified by the founding of the town of Century, and this monument to Daniel Sullivan is the largest in the cemetery. There's no doubt about that. You can see it, from a mile away. But it's gorgeous. So came all the way from Ireland and was a pioneer of the Pensacola area. Daniel F. Sullivan, born in Minga, Ireland, July 18th, 1833, died in Pensacola, Florida, June 14th, 1884. Into thine hand I commit my spirit, O Lord, God of truth. That's gorgeous. Hello. Probably cost a pretty penny even back then, too. Another big name in this cemetery is Stokes. My son's therapist actually was named Dr. Kirk Stokes, and I'm wondering if this is part of his family. He's laid to rest somewhere in Georgia, so this isn't far. This perhaps could be some of his family. Big name in this cemetery for sure. I was wrong. This is 8 acres of land. So it was formally surveyed by the Spanish in 1807. But St. Michael's may have been used for burials as early as the mid-1700s. So there are 3,200 marked burials here and probably several unmarked burials, according to the history and what the internet has to say about it. It's really pretty. A little hard to read with the marble, though. Blount, that's another big name. I see that name all over Florida. Blount is a big Florida name. This one's really beautiful too. I found her. This is one of the more significant burials in the cemetery. Dorothy Walton, it says here. Now, if you look online, it says Dorothy Camber. So it says about Dorothy Camber, born Dorothy Camber to a British plantation owner at South Carolina. Dorothy married lawyer George Walton at Savannah shortly before the beginning of the American Revolution. George Walton attended the Continental Congress in Philadelphia, signing the Declaration of Independence. Dorothy relocated to Pensacola in 1822, where George Walton Jr. was serving as acting governor of Florida after the departure of Andrew Jackson. They're doing some work across the street. They're just drilling away. But yep, she's laid to rest right here. Here is a Dr. Eugenio A. Sierra. It says he departed this life March 12th, 1849, aged 99 years. Now, that was a long time to live back in those days because medicine had not come as far as it is now. We didn't have as much groundbreaking cures and all of these treatments and stuff. So to live to age 99 back then, that was quite remarkable. A lot of people died younger, a lot younger. I think the lifespan back then was only to, 50s and 60s. This one here, Stephen E. Sierra, died May 20th, 1853, aged 35 years. His wife, when she passed away, was 56 years old. So that's pretty remarkable. Let's read about him. Eugenio Antonio Sierra. A native of Spain, Eugenio Antonio Sierra arrived in Pensacola in the employ of the Spanish Royal Hospitals in 1785. He was appointed to the post of head practitioner at the Pensacola Hospital between 1794 and 1799. In 1811, Dr. Sierra, professor of surgery, was a prominent resident of this city. He witnessed many changes in the community before his death, March 12, 1849. His daughter, Isabella, married Dr. John Brosnahan. Wow, cool. Those are really beautiful too. Every headstone in this plot is very pretty, and they're all different, which is very cool. So, very neat. I am not disappointed at all. This cemetery is amazing. I highly recommend. I mean, the grounds are even nice. So, on a nice, balmy, hot day, Florida weather, you could probably wear flip-flops in this one. If you're a sandal person, just watch. There might be an ant bed here and there, but the grounds are very neat and very well maintained. And so much to see. I hope you enjoyed the cemetery. I absolutely love it. This is one of my new favorites in Florida, at least. I've been to others in other states that are amazing, but this is one of my favorites in Florida for sure. Maybe my favorite. I think it's my favorite now. Because I love the Tolomato Cemetery, which is the oldest cemetery in Florida in Saint Augustine, but it's very, very, very small. This one is huge. So, this is my new favorite. I'll see you at the next one. We're here at Bavaria Restaurant in Pensacola, Florida. Who knew Pensacola was such a food destination? We're going to do the best we can to try as much food as possible and take you on a little food tour, starting with Bavaria. This is a great place with great atmosphere, an awesome little bartender named Lola. She's been amazing, and it's a really great little spot if you love atmosphere, German beer, and the food is excellent. Let's go in and have a bite. Just 2 doors down from the Bavarian German restaurant, you got the Doghouse. We're gonna go in and try their nachos. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope you loved today's episode. And if you love this kind of stuff like I do, and you love learning about the history of cemeteries and haunted places, then we have something in common. If you haven't already, please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video. That does it for today's episode. I'll see you next time.